So, hi everyone. Welcome to this session. This is the Google Developer Student Club speaker session, our first speaker session this semester, and our last event for this particular semester. Hopefully, our last online session this semester, hoping we get into more in-person sessions in January moving forward. So, our session for today is, as I said, a speaker session called Standing Out During the Internship Application Process. I am your host. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself first. I will be Catherine Mothoni. I am Catherine Mothoni. I will be your host for today, and I'm going to be taking you guys through the session practically. So, as I said, our agenda is practically me welcoming you all. I hope you feel welcomed. An icebreaker, then we have the speaker intro, then we're going to have our speaker speaking, then we're going to have a question and answer session, then we proceed. So I'm going to start with a small icebreaker for you guys. So you all know we have had summatives the previous week. So for those who don't know, summatives is practically the examination version at ALU. So basically, these are projects that we do at the end of the term, which basically count as our exams at the end of the term. So we have been having summatives for the longest time possible, since like 2 weeks ago, and we are just done. So mine is to pass a question to you guys. How was that? How was summatives for you? How are you coping? How are you surviving? How are you feeling now that it's done? And do you think that what you did during summative is helpful when you're applying for these internships coming up? And practically, do you think what you're learning at ALU is really applicable to these internships that you're applying for outside? So maybe I can get someone from the participant group unmute, then practically just share with us what they think. So maybe share with us your views. How was summative week for you? And do you think all the projects and what you've been doing during that time really apply to the jobs and the internships that you're applying for out here? So somebody, be nice, be confident, ALU students. Somebody, waiting for someone to unmute, maybe tell us what you think, or maybe I can start. On my end, I'll say the summative season has been hectic. HECTIC, hectic. It's been tiring, there's a lot of work going on, and it was just after midterm summative, so you like have 2 projects bundled up at the same time, which makes it really, really hectic. As far as whether it applies to what I'm learning, I'll say part of it, yes. And I'll say that part of what I'm learning really applies to what I'm applying for out here, because I'll say like an internship that I'm undertaking right now is thanks to a project I did when I was in second year with Java. So I can say that some of these projects actually help when applying for these particular internships. So I can see Pacific in the chat has said that the summative week was hectic, but I think the projects we did are building on our skills and experience. I think that's nice. Pacific, do you want to unmute and maybe elaborate on that? Pacific, you're around. Okay, she said her mic is not working. Cool. So since you guys refused to raise your hands, I'm gonna cut call. So Topista, you are our first person on the call. Very, very prompt attender. Topista, do you mind sharing with us how your summative week was, and if the projects that you did during summative you feel apply to what you're doing today?
Sorry.
Hi,
Hello.
Topista. Hi, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with myself. Actually, the summative was so hectic, and each course summative is following the other. So yeah, but about the application part, yeah, it's kind of like it's something you're doing that is you can apply in the real world. So yeah, that's all.
That's nice. I'm assuming this is your first summative during your degree program. So yeah, brace
Yeah.
yourself right now. Many more are coming. And I'm glad that you are liking the application bit of it. They're all hectic. You're gonna find them hectic. Yes, maybe I pick one last person before we move on to the next part. Onyedikachi, you are the second person on the call. Yes, I saw you. Do you mind unmuting and telling us probably how your summative week was, and if you think whatever you learned applies to what you're doing right now?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Okay, so the summative week, yeah, just like everyone else, I think it was really hectic. I feel like you need to be a genius for it not to be hectic for you. So it was really difficult, but then we have to just push through it. And then based on the application, like sometimes when you're actually doing the work, you feel like, why am I even doing this? Or how is this going to help me? But then when you finish and then you're looking at internships and you're looking at the skills that are needed in the description, then you realize that, oh, I could actually use this project or this project and apply for this. So yeah, it helps.
That's nice. Thank you, Onyedikachi. I like what she said when she said that, at the beginning, you really never know where it applies. And I think that applies to most of the courses that we do, especially in CS. Like you never see where most of these things apply until you actually get out there and you're like, oh, wait, so this is how this and this is related to this. So this is how data structures apply here. So this is okay, nice. So yeah, I think from your views, we have understood that practically the summative week and summative weeks are hectic. And I think we just have to brace ourselves for them. We have a couple more to go. And that, yes, they really do help in, cementing our internship process and, cementing our portfolios and resumes and getting us ready for what exactly, we're applying for in the future as far as internships are concerned. And now, having done that, that was just an icebreaker to get us into the mood of the session. As I said before, this session is practically about how to stand out during the internship application process. So most of the time, we're always applying for internships, but we really never know what exactly our facilitator needs or what exactly the recruiter needs when they're hiring for that particular job. So that is why we created this particular event, and we have a guest speaker with us who's going to help us understand, what exactly do I need to stand out? What exactly are recruiters looking for? And now on this, I'm just going to tell you guys to hold your questions, have your questions ready, because the speaker that is coming up is going to wow you guys. So just, hold your questions, get your questions ready, be attentive. If you have a pen, if you need a pen, have one next to you, yeah, get yourself ready and steady for the session. So our guest speaker today is Kehinde Kayode, as you can see on the screen. Kehinde is a tech talent delivery executive at TalentQL Canada. She is a gender specialist as well, who is working into increasing female representation in the tech space. Feminists in the house, they will. And she has equally successfully placed software engineers with big companies like Flutterwave, and big companies, in the US, UAE, Kenya, Nigeria, UK, etc. So Kehinde is a tech talent delivery executive, and I felt like she would be really essential in helping us know, what exactly do we need when we're going for those particular positions? What do we need to have on board? you know how exactly do you carry yourself when you're looking for that particular skill. And I know that she is gonna wow us for the next couple of minutes that she's gonna be talking. So you guys, as I said, be attentive, sit down, listen. We have somebody important sharing her wisdom with us. And without further ado, I'm gonna just invite Kehinde. Please wow us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, Catherine. It's my pleasure to be here today. Thank you so very much for having me. And thanks to all participants here. I mean, I was at GLU last month when I was in Rwanda for work, and I had the opportunity to actually witnessing the club. I don't know what it's actually, I can't remember right now. But it's the club, I don't know if it's seminar, workshop, I don't know. But it was really interesting. And I got the feeling of what DLE is about, the students, the structures, the stuff like that. And I should say that it was really a good experience. And anytime I'm around Rwanda, I'll definitely visit the school again. Without much saying, Catherine has introduced me. So interestingly, I just jumped off from a speaking engagement somewhere else. So because I'm also a gender specialist, I get to have a lot of speaking engagement around gender equality, not just in tech, but in other like areas. So I was a guest speaker somewhere else, and I was like, oh, I have another meeting to jump into. I wouldn't like want to be late, so I would just jump off. But then it's worthwhile, and I'm happy I'm here now. Yeah, so I'm a talent delivery. So what that necessarily means is in close range with technical recruiters. Although I'm also like venturing into that part of recruiting tech talent, so to say, I've just had a lot on my plate now that I'm not really focused on that part, but I am in close range with technical recruiters and also with companies who need tech talent. So like a middle person between those two persons. I get the technical talent from the technical recruiters, and I manage all of the relationships, the discussion with the tech companies or companies thereabout, because not necessarily they do not need to be tech companies before they need tech talent. And I ensure that the process is very seamless and both parties are very okay. And then I place the talent with the companies, either outright recruitment process or like an outsourcing process, just whatever the case is. And so far so good, I've been able to place a lot of technical talent in different countries across the globe. But one disheartening part here is, as with all of the talent I've placed so far, I've just only placed one woman. And it's so disheartening, like, what's happening? I mean, that's just the issue. But I hope with a lot of the activities that I do around the gender space and in the tech space, I'm able to change the scenarios and have as much as women, and I'm able to place over time. Although we have like a pipeline program in my company right now called the OS School, which is like teaching people basics to coding, software development, and then non-coding, which is like the UI UX designing. And so through that project, I'm bringing a lot of girls and women into contact with learning software development, and hopefully in a year time, because the program is 1 year, we have 9 months and 3 months internship placement. I'm able to have a lot of women and girls and obviously so the scenario is different. So I think I should just dive into the main course of today's discussion. So we do not like exhaust our time, just talking about informal basis and just getting to know me and stuff, what I do. Catherine, please permit me to share my screen. I have like some slides I would like to. Okay, I cannot share my screen. I think you need to stop sharing so I get to pop up my screen from my end. Catherine, can you hear me? Or Catherine, sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it so well. Thank you. I'll just. what's happening right now. Interesting. I have a lot of settings to do. So this I've not used this laptop to present before. This is going to take a bit of time. Interesting. Okay, I think I'm just going to share this for just a few moments. Okay, I think I should have tested this for now. I think I'm muted. I don't know why this is happening right now. Okay, I think I'm just going to, because there's a lot of settings to be done here. It's a new laptop and taking a whole lot of time. I'll just jump on my old laptop now. So just a moment, please. So I can share, even if I'm using just to present. Because I don't think it would be nice for me to just present without having to present my screen. Just a moment, please.
Okay, cool. I think we're just gonna give you time. In the meantime, guys, enjoy some music in the background as we wait for her to get ready. It's technology. Things happen. Hi. Hi, sorry.
Can you stop presenting now? I'm on with my my laptop. I mean,
okay.
The one I'm very much used to. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so this is happening. It's a new laptop. Then it's asking me for a lot of settings, and I know it's not something I want to sit here right now to do. I'll just present
cool. Thank you guys for sticking through as we waited for Kehinde. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to open the doc. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for waiting, and yeah, apologize for that. I think a lot of engagement so far for this week. It don't even make me think it twice to actually set the screen sharing for the new laptop. Rather, I was just not bothered about that. Okay, just as you know, Kehinde Kayode is my name. I'm a textile and delivery and a gender specialist. And then definitely we're talking about standing out in the internship application. So be my guest while you listen to me. Hope I'm able to pass a lot of information here that will be so helpful in the process of applying for that internship. I do not know how your school structure is like with internship placements or when you're to resume that or how the application process looks like. But what I'm definitely confident about is I know that this is necessary that one stands out from the crowd. It is necessary that you position yourself in that space that makes you the right fit for whatever position that you want to intend for or whatever company you want to intend for. So given that is it, I hope this presentation would help you one way or the other. Okay, so the first question I would like to position or pose to you is why is it necessary to stand out from the crowd? Okay, I think it would be nice for any of the participants here to speak about this, but then before I give the space to hear from you, because I usually like that my speaking engagements are very interactive. It's always like a two-way thing and not just one speaker here talking about this, pouring out information, and it's like, okay, she's just here to talk about this, and let's just listen to her. So I also learn from every sort of speaking engagement that I indulge myself in. So do not consider that this is going to be like just one person talking. So why is it necessary to stand up from the crowd? There are a lot of reasons why it is necessary to stand up from the crowd. So the first is the population size of people who are actually looking for employment opportunities. So I do not know a lot of statistics around for unemployment rate or even on the unemployment rate in many countries, but that I'm starting off with Nigeria, which is like my home country. It's even increasing right now. So necessarily you need to stand out of the crowd for you to actually make sense, for you to be appealing to a potential employer, for you to be appealing to your company of interest. So definitely because of the population size and the small opportunities out there. And when we're talking about the opportunities out there, we're talking about those ones that you really wish to have as your place of work. So you need to actually stand out of the crowd. And aside this, standing out of the crowd in the process of you interning goes a long way to determine what your career projection or your career future endeavors would look like. So the most important is how you start early determines how the later days or later years of your career path will go. And it's also opening you up to other opportunities available out there. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, thank you. I'm really very of an interactive person. So for me, when I come in between and ask if I'm making sense, if I'm communicating. So one thing about me is I'm a lot of person in one person, I should say that. So I'm intense, I'm a gender specialist, I'm in academia, so I lecture. And when I lecture people, I talk about a very interactive classroom, learning interactive sessions. So permit me, you're seeing much of that when I'm talking today. So at this point, I want it to be interactive. I also want to hear from you. What do you think is, or why do you think it's necessary to stand out of crowd? I've told you two major reasons that speaks to me: the population size and you having an opportunity that helps grow your career at a fast pace, and yes, getting what you want. So, does anybody here wants to share with me why it is necessary to stand out from the crowd? Anybody? Okay. You can actually type anyways. Okay. No worries. I guess I should just continue right now. People are not yet going to talk. So talk later when it's more. Okay, go ahead, please. I think I heard somebody.
Okay. So, okay, my opinion of why I think it's necessary to stand out from the crowd is because I feel like the field, especially the job market field, is wide. Like it has like a lot of people. It's like a big bowl with so many things inside. So I feel like the importance of standing out is to single yourself out for those very limited opportunities among those very many people. Like it is very important to stand out because it will be easier for you to access those opportunities when you stood out, other than when you're just the same as others who are in the same field as you. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, it does. Thank you so very much, Catherine, for sharing that. And that's a very possible reason why you need to stand out. So aside from that fact that I mentioned, I just want to quickly say this, that why we think or believe that the tech is very small, the tech world is very small, the ecosystem is very small in Africa, because we're just trying to leverage on technology to solve problems, to find solutions to a lot of issues that are frequenting all the society. It's not necessarily true if you think about it from that angle, because I'm a talent delivery associate, a talent delivery executive. I have a lot of people in our pipeline, my company's pipeline. So we call them the vetted engineers, and there are a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them. And the opportunities, despite the fact that we get a lot of opportunities on a daily basis, I mean, the opportunity just comes in, right? And then you need to match people. You still have fewer persons get into those opportunities, and it's because we have like a lot of people who are like struggling to get into that opportunity. Yeah, so it's not only in our pool. While we have that number in our pool, we have a lot of other tech companies that are into the recruitment and placement, also have like a large pool of people, and they're trying to fill their candidates for those positions. So it is very competitive, I should put it that way. The tech world is very competitive, and that is why one of those reasons you need to stand out from the crowd. And standing out from the crowd does not necessarily mean when you are out of school before you begin to plan. It also has to do with why you're in school right now, why you're going for your internship placements and etc. Yeah, so you don't even need a CS degree to get into tech. So that's one of those reasons why you need to stand out of the crowd, because I'm thinking or imagining right now that a lot of persons or participants in this meeting are people who are studying computer science or have an affiliation with a study program in computer science. So one disclaimer I should put out there to you, and you don't even need to get a CS degree. So a lot of, I mean, a high percentage of people in our pool right now that are into software development do not even start out as computer science students. So it is very competitive. You're in computer science, you're not even in anything related to science, it doesn't really matter. So let me just put it across to you. I did not study computer science in school, nor is it that I'm currently studying anything related to computer science or engineering. In fact, my background is in social sciences, in political science specifically, and in international gender studies. So that's why I'm a gender specialist. I'm also a political analyst, a researcher, and stuff like that. So I'm core in the social science department, but here I'm in the tech space. So meaning that you have a computer science degree does not necessarily mean that you have an edge over people who do not have computer science degree. So that's one of the reasons you must take out from here that you need to stand out. So having given like a premises or like a foundation to reasons why you need to stand out, I think it is necessary for now for us to dive into how you can stand out as somebody who is applying for internship placements or somebody who is interested in building their career in software development. Yes, how do you stand out with your CS degree as somebody who is like studying computer science and also in the process of establishing a career in software development or in tech generally? So I have some major observed enablers that I think they are key because I've I'm always talking to software developers on a daily basis. So I talk with them by call, phone calls, emails, video calls. What have you not? We have like sessions, a lot of them. So I interact with software developers on a daily basis, and I interact with prospective employers in different companies across the globe. So I know all of what these people are looking for versus what the software developers need to recruit themselves in. So let me just split it in my company right now. We have a program called Pipeline Program for upskilling software developers from mid-level to senior level engineers. So categorically, we say mid-level engineers have not less than 3 years of experience to 5 years of professional experience. So if you fall within that category, you're a mid-level engineer. But if you have over 5 years plus experience, this categorization is not what is applicable everywhere, but it is usually what is used to categorize levels of engineers. So level of engineers for senior developers must be like 5 years over. And for junior engineers, we have like from 1 year to about 3 years of experience for like a junior developer. And again, I say that for most companies outside Africa, their years of experience are lesser. Sometimes I wonder why there's that difference. But even if the years of experience is lesser, the demand skill set wise is higher. So I have like 10 years of experience engineers who will be like in Africa would say, oh, this is a senior developer, like professionally. You can even categorize them as lead engineers, depending on what they've been able to do, right? But funny enough is we match them up for engineering roles like 3 years plus of experience or 4 years plus of experience or 5 years plus of experience with global companies, probably in the US and Canada and some other places. Why is this so? I mean, the years of experience is lesser, but the skill set that they require to fill all of these positions are way higher. So that's one of those things that you should know right now as a software engineer, that it's not about years of experience. Doing something is about how fast you're able to learn on other things and how well you do well in whatever you do. So permit me, I like talking, and so I'm always like trying to buttress my points deeper than whatever area you see. My observed enablers, like for you to stand out, include all of what you can see on my screen. So first and foremost, mentorship. I know this sounds a bit awkward, like I'm just starting my career, I'm just starting to like want to apply for an internship. Why does mentorship comes into play, or what's the interface between mentorship and so it's very interesting is that mentorship goes along with, particularly when you're talking about tech, in the tech space. I don't know if you have noticed this, but mentorship is very key in the tech space. So for somebody who is just trying to apply for internship, you must at this point try to get a mentor, somebody you look up to in that line of your interest in software development. If you're a front-end engineer, it's nice for you to have like a front-end mentor, front-end engineer with a mentor, or like a full stack who is very strong with front-end development. Now, I'm also saying mentorship at this point because the mentor is going to be helpful in trying to know the companies that you should apply for, or like the industry. Are you looking at edutech? Are you looking at fintech? There's so many things you need to consider at this point in time. It's not about you standing out as an individual. It is about you standing out in that industry where you see yourself thriving. Are you also somebody who's interested in like matching up tech talent, like in the recruitment space? Is that your area of interest? Is that where you see yourself growing more? A mentor would help you to a large extent connect the dots. So that's what I'm saying. At this point, to stand out, you need a mentor. At this point, if you don't have one, I hope that before you begin your application, you talk to somebody who is more versed in this ecosystem, who has spent a lot of years doing things, because they say experience is most likely the best teacher and can help you stand out because you're already seen and they can know what industry or what you need to do at this time. So that's number one take for mentorship. And mentorship connects you with opportunities. So sometimes it's difficult for you to understand the application process for a company that you are trying to intern in. but because you have a mentor who is in that space, in that particular industry, or has strengths, the tech world is very, very, very socializing and very accommodating, because there's a niche. A lot of persons just want to know the other person. So it's possibly that your mentor already has a friend who is working in that place, and it helps you on a very smooth basis to understand what the application process and demands, or what you need to know, or the skill set that you need to equip yourself in before you tender in that application process. So mentorship is really key. Another second observed enabler for you to stand out that I think, or I believe with my experience in the recruitment agency for tech talent and etc., is that you need to specialize in one particular area. I mean, a lot of people find it difficult because they're just starting out your career. You don't even know which particular angle is your strength or your interest. But you jumping from one place to the other does not help at all. I don't know if you're understanding me, or I don't know if I'm making sense. So it's better you figure out your strengths at an early start stage than you getting into it and just muffling everything together. Why I'm saying this is that companies these days, especially unicorns, or if not a startup has a lot of startups just it helps you to combine a lot of skill set and activities, because you can do this, you have a lot to do. But then if you're looking to intern in more like companies like unicorns, you need to specialize in an area. If you want to be a front end, just be a front end. If you want to be like a full stack engineer, be a full stack engineer. If you want to be a mobile developer, and let us know the tech stack. That I'm not saying you should not, definitely for an engineer, for you to stand out again, you need to be somebody who has a little of almost everything, because that helps a lot. And then you're somebody who is flexible to learning new things. That's another prerequisite, like for a good software developer, right? But then don't take away the fact that you need to specialize in one, because you are here, you are there, and you are not good or very proficient enough in one, does not speak anything about you. So a lot of companies that come to us for potential hires have like the tech stack their company is built on, and necessarily they want somebody who is proficient in that tech stack. So when you're muggling or juggling between different programming languages and you don't have strength in one or your core areas, then it's so difficult for you to get employment somewhere or get intern somewhere, because you're not even confident about your skill set in that angle. I don't think I need to overemphasize the need for specialization, but I think the little I've been able to explain goes a long way to say that at this point you need to convince yourself to know what you want to do. And getting to know what you want to do, you can actually seek the help of a mentor. Yeah. So I had a talk with a colleague who is a software engineer. He started off as a full stack engineer, but he was juggling a lot of things together. Not until one mentor told him, like, start off with front end, because since you have more interest in front end skill sets and programming frameworks, why don't you just start off with front end? And then he started off with front end, and now he has like commendable working professional experience as a front end engineer, and that's what he's doing currently in my company, and it's doing great. And even if he has the intention to venture into full stack engineering, he already knows his area of strength. And then when he is looking for a move or a potential hire, is somebody who will be categorized as a front end, a full stack engineer with strength in front end, right? Because a lot of companies do, when they say full stack engineer, they know everybody cannot be on the same level, like with your back end skills and your front end skills. So what you need to do, what they tell me is, oh, I need a full stack engineer who is very strong in back end, who is very strong with PHP or whatever programming language. So they specifically say that. And I'm half still looking for somebody who does full stack, but who specializes more or has more work experience, professional experience as a back-end engineer with the programming language or framework that the company needs. So that's about specialization. And as an intern or like a potential intern, I also see like volunteering activities or experience as a lot that can help you stand out. So because as an intern, you've not had a lot of opportunities to gather experience, but then a lot of companies are not looking at people who do not have no experience, who have no experience with tech or like software development. I have not even worked on a project, and you're just coming as a CS student, and then you just want to intern, you want to begin to learn. I think you should have gathered a little kind of work experience. I know you start from a day, it's not Rome is not built in a day, and then you can start off as in a vacuum. Volunteering helps a lot to gather more experience about projects. You can actually, that's what I'm saying, like mentorship is really nice. So if you have a mentor who is like building a project, you don't know anything about it, you don't know much experience about it, but you can collaborate on that project. You can have how you can impute in it, and then afterwards the credit of the project that was built also goes to you, even if it doesn't go to you like on the public sphere. I mean, it's something you can write on the CV as a gathered experience, part of volunteering. And yes, even volunteering also connects you with opportunities. Say, for instance, now there's this open role for internship placement in a company, and you're volunteered with somebody. Sometimes they say, oh, she has enthusiasm or he has enthusiasm with learning and getting more experience. So let us consider this person. So that's another way volunteering can help you stand out as a potential hire right now. I know because this is coming right now, like in the process, you're already trying to apply for your internship placement, and it's like, oh, it's coming right up late. How do I start? When do I start? There is never a late time to start. That's one of my mantra in life. I do not see an hindrance as lateness. Rather, I try as much as possible to want to start at any time that I find it necessary to start. So you can start right now. You can join communities of people who are volunteering to build projects and stuff like that. Without more to say to that, I think I should just venture into projects undertaken and collaborated on. So this is when we are reviewing profiles. So I review profiles or CVs in my company to match them up with potential hires. I see a lot of people that they don't have more projects to their names, or like they don't have much projects to their name or to their professional experience. And I'm like wondering, like, what company would want to hire somebody who has not done so much? I mean, one of those things that convinces me that you can do better at what I'm giving you is I have something to fall back on, or like something to proceed and say, okay, he has done this, he has done that, even if not exactly what I want to do right now, but I know he has built something or she has built something along that path. So it helps me to, on the long run, consider that person as the right fit for that job. So projects that you are doing, collaborated on, even if it's a petty project, if it's not like a real project, I mean, just something you see on the sideline and you consider yourself to be available to work on it, please do. And to the long run, it contributes to your success rate at getting that internship job or that internship placement, because I also want to hire somebody who convinces me that they can pick up that job. So that's about projects undertaken, collaborated on. Another thing I see with my daily interaction with software engineers, particularly those ones that are already in the business for a long time, is enthusiasm. Like, I can't overemphasize the necessity to be enthusiastic about whatever that you are doing right now. I mean, let it show in you. So red flags have come for some software engineers that I speak with. So when I jump on a call with them and I'm like introducing an opportunity to them, or I have this company and I see your profile as a potential match, the feeling I get from some people just gives me that this person is not going to do well in that job. I mean, so it's just what it is. I mean, the kind of feeling you're pointing out to your potential employer speaks a whole lot to your success rate. And that has to do with how you're able to communicate as well. So one of those issues that a lot of software engineers face is their inability to communicate, their capability, their experience, and what they can do to a potential hire. So when I jump on a call with a person, I'm like, I'm already weighing, because I don't want to waste my time as well. I have the time of I have the time of some companies to withhold. I need to deliver and get them the right talent at a short period of time. And I myself, I have a lot of software engineers who I'm working with. I have my time for myself too. So I don't want somebody who would get into the first stage of the assessment processes and mess things up. So I would rather not consider that person for the opportunity. So I need to see enthusiasm in you for the potential hire. And enthusiasm comes with the communication, your body language, how you're willing to learn new things, how willing you're able to upskill yourself. So those are things that I look out for when I'm speaking with software engineers. Not aside from the projects they're able to do that says, oh, this person is good. I want to also see if I place you in a team, will you be able to communicate well? Will you be able to share experience and software development is all about? If you don't communicate, you don't document well, there's going to be a backlash at the end of the day. So I want somebody who can do things that help the growth of the team. So I want to see enthusiasm in you as potential hire. And last on the list, which is the well-organized team, I kind of emphasize this. So I see something, I'm like, is this person really a software engineer? I mean, in this tech world, how can you have this kind of CVs? So that's just one thing. And the CV is like the first thing that tells you to an employer. So if I look at your CV, so what I do is to give my clients, I should say, like list of potential candidates, I share their resume. And from that resume, to say, okay, I'm going with this candidate, I want to see this candidate to the next stage. They don't even have like prior communication with that candidate. It is their CV that sells themselves. So what I'm saying in essence is that if your CV is not well organized enough to sell you, to sell your potential, to sell your work experience, to sell everything about you, then there's a problem somewhere. Because there are amazing engineers right now that have not gotten good opportunities, not because they're not good, but because they've not been able to organize the CVs to reflect the good in them. So I'm employing you right now that as a potential or somebody who is trying to get into internship placement somewhere, you need to, at this point, organize the CV. And necessarily, there are a lot of courses that helps you to organize the CV. Like you can jump on YouTube, you can even meet a mentor. That's what I'm saying. A mentor is so helpful in helping your career path because this mentor obviously has a lot of experience around it. So a well-organized CV is another enabler helping you stand out from your application process. And I should also see this in as upskilling, software development. You need to like upskill. There are new every time there are new programming languages coming out. Like everything is just so the world is like moving fast, right? So you need to get yourself like acquainted to all of this. And that does not take away the fact that you need to specialize in one particular area. Because you are trying to know so much, but then you're also trying to not juggle around without having an headway somewhere. Yeah, so that's exactly what you should do. Upskill yourself and show that sense of I really want to learn. That's another thing that can help you stand out from the crowd as somebody who is trying to get an internship placement somewhere. I hope I'm communicating. If somebody should say something, if I'm communicating. Hello, can you hear
We
me?
hear you. We hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So, this is one of my favorite statements that I've learned from it as well, and my boss has also like taught me in line with this. Like, I don't need to be afraid to get it wrong. Write the wrong line of code, break something. Like, it's just what it is. If you're learning something, there are a lot of things that won't go well, but trust me, things that you do over and over again goes a long way to help you on the long run to be a better person. So don't be afraid to get it all wrong at this stage. You're trying to intern. So it's not wrong that you do something not well. You always have like people to help you get better. Yeah, so I just thought I should put this in for anyone out there who needs it I've made a lot of mistakes in tech too. I've made a lot of mistakes generally going as a person in my career, but I'm not letting those mistakes define who I am right now. So it's just one of those very key things that should also make you stand out. But because they're not afraid of making mistakes, does not make you somebody who's not like the chairman of mistake makers. I mean, that's just that's a little joke by the line, anyways. But that's what I'm just trying to communicate. That make mistakes, but learn from all of the mistakes they're making, particularly in software development. Yeah. So I know I'm not sure of the demography or the audience here, or like how everybody is in this together. I don't know what a lot of persons have done in time past where they are right now. But one thing I want to say is if you're not in for core coding, you may opt for non-technical roles. I'm not taking this, and this is not necessarily what you should be thinking about, just you getting into the internship phase of your life. But I mean, on a long run, as somebody in tech, you necessarily do not need to be like the software developer or the coder or the whatever you call it. We call ourselves in the engineer, like core coding and stuff like that. There are a lot of things happening around tech that you can venture into. And these are examples of those things. You have projects, programs, and project product program manager, managerial positions that you can opt for. Just look at the strengths as an individual and those things that you can do. And necessarily all of your experience or your knowledge about software development comes into play in all of these tools. So you have UI UX designer who are like top notch for a project completion. You can't even start off your software development, your coding without having like a markup of what you're trying to build. The technical writer is just somebody who is good in writing because of your knowledge in software development and coding. You can venture into this very easily. You just need to do a lot of research around that. You have the customer service experience or customer person who like interacts with the product users or the audience, and then the team. You have growth and marketing. There are a lot of other roles that you can venture into, not necessarily as somebody who is core into coding. So it's something you just want to like, and there are high demands for all of this as well because it's like an ecosystem. You can't do it without a lot of all of these things. They make or complete the entire body. So in the future part of your life, or now that you're just starting out, you may just want to consider all of these things. You feel like the core coding experience is not really your thing, and you're not finding it so interesting. I hope that helps. Yeah, are you with me? Are you listening? Am I communicating? Just some sort of voices from the background. Let me hear, so I know like people are still listening to me.
I mean,
you may want to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh yeah, I was saying
I'm actually
yeah, I'm actually following on my end. I'm taking notes on my end. I'm really learning a lot. I don't know about the rest of the guys. How are you guys feeling so far? Maybe type in the chat so that you can all know.
Thank you, Caleb. Is any other person going to type something? Just to fun proceed. I have just few slides to conclude this presentation.
Me too. I'm learning a lot. I didn't know that mentorship was very essential, but yeah, now I got something.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking that in. Okay, I just want to go on at this stage just to conserve time. So how do you get in? I mean, a lot of preparation, a lot of what you need to do right now after a number of them. So how do you actually get into your preferred space for internship or like future career development? So first and foremost is to join communities with opportunities. So for instance, my company provides an opportunity for that. Just like I said, I work in TalentQL, I don't know how many people have heard about the company. So we're headquartered in Canada. We have semi-headquartered in Nigeria. We have like we're in Kigali, Rwanda, we're in Kenya, we're in a lot of other places, and we've been able to place talent in many other countries. So we provide like a community for you to get opportunities. And so when I talk about the opportunity, I know it's more like for people who are more experienced right now because like they're getting the real job and not like internship. But I trust it's also like a good opportunity for you, either later years or even now if you're confident or you already have like previous experiences. So what it's all about is to just join the pool. And to join the pool, you just need to go to our website at www.talentql.com, and there you'll see join pool. And from there, you would just have to input your personal information and you'll get some tests. So we have a vetting process. I'm saying that I do not know what level you have right now with your coding or with your professional software development experience. But if you already have like some sort of work experience, it would be nice for you to join the community to get more juicy work opportunities. And then you get tests, right? So the tests are like in line with your area of specialization, and that is where specialization comes in. So you have like programming languages and frameworks that you would specify that you are more comfortable or confident in, and you receive tests in those areas. And your performance in that test position you as a member of our community. And that is where I get shortlist candidates from who eventually get skilled through to the opportunities we have with companies. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Gabby. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. That's www.talentql.com. Yes. So join communities, and I'm sure that's not the only tech talent communities we have out there. A lot of other companies who are into matching up tech talents also have like their pool of pipeline of candidates or like communities of candidates where they can join and get matched up opportunities. So you don't just sit around and wait for opportunities to come. You pursue those opportunities yourself by joining those communities. And when we have like opportunities that tally with your area of specialization or interest, we'll definitely call you up, and then you begin the application, the process with the company, and you have leverage than any other person that is trying to get that job because the companies trust us and we have done our vetting process, and then it's always very seamless for candidates that come through us. So I don't know if you're understanding what I'm trying to say right now. So that's about joining communities, and then how you also get in is to grow your skills. That's what I'm saying, that the whole world of software development demands that you upskill yourself on routine basis. So you just don't sit idle. You get to know and meet people, meet a lot of people in your around you, and that's what I'm doing. Number 3 is about networking. You need to network with people who are into that pattern or like that area of specialization. They share information with you, they share projects with you, they share resources with you for you to collaborate together on an expert area. And then the last is like trusting the process. Yes, because if you don't trust the process, obviously you are not confident enough to want to upskill yourself. You need to trust the process, and trust the process goes a long way to if you trust the process, that's when you can even grow your skills, right? There's a lot of things that you need to just trust the process, believe that you are in the right career path, convince yourself before you're able to convince other people. So that's what I'm going to say about trusting the process. It's about convincing yourself before you're able to convince other people. Am I communicating? You have questions for me at this point, but I should just continue, and then we have a few minutes just to wrap up the session. Can anybody hear me? Oh, thank you, Gabby. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Onyedikachi. That's my colleague's name. So I have a colleague who is a UI UX designer here at TalentQL. Her name is Onyedikachi. Nice to meet you, Onyedikachi.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. Okay, I guess a lot of us just internships together here. I'll just move right straight to. Okay, so a course again, an investment in knowledge takes the best price, takes the best interest. So as a software engineer, you need to invest a lot in getting knowledge. So for instance, now we had like a boot camp in Kigali for software engineers, like managerial roles for CPOs and tech leads. And they had to pay, right, to attend the boot camp, part of an investment, and it was very collaborative. It helps them to upskill themselves. I'm just taking about examples of programs that you need to invest in. So we also have like the pipeline I'm talking about, the skilling from mid-level to the senior level engineering role. So these are investments that pays off at the later end. So as software engineers, even you starting up as an intern right now, you need to begin to invest in yourself, invest in programs, invest in knowledge that will help you on the long run. I think that's the end of my presentation. I hope I've been able to like share some sort of experience with you, share things that are necessary for you to stand out. I hope I've been able to do justice. These are my social media and you can check me out. I'm most active on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, I don't know. But then yes, thank you again for hosting me today. It's my pleasure, and I really love the fact that I'm speaking with people that I really flow with, like students and stuff like that. Just like I said, I'm in academia, so I talk a lot with students and stuff like that. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay.
Cool. I was saying thank you so much for the session. Thank you so much for your time. This has been so informative. I honestly have learned a lot. Just like Pacific, I didn't know the great importance of mentorship as far as applying for internships is concerned. I equally didn't, I was equally struggling with knowing, should I specialize or should I just do everything, then have everything at the end? But I think you've emphasized on the point of specialization very well. And I'm very, very grateful for that. I hope the rest of the people have learned a lot. So I'm just gonna like open the floor to anyone who has any questions to ask. Anyone with any questions to ask before I ask mine, because I think I have like one or two from what I got. So anyone with any questions, please type them in the chat, or you can unmute. You're open to do that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, hello.
So I had a question. So I have two questions, but one. Let me ask one before. So my question is, most of the most of the good companies we aspire to work at are abroad. So, and sometimes we are fortunate to have visa application in those applications. So how can an applicant place themselves better to be able to access such an opportunity, like to learn that opportunity, especially when it's from an international? Yeah, that's what my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. I think I can go ahead to answer the question right now, or is there any pattern happening?
I think, would you want everyone to ask the questions at once, then you answer them together, or you'll just answer one at a time?
I think answering one at a time helps me to better address the question, and I forget one at the midst of the discussion. Thank you again, Caleb. Just like you said, global companies, companies, unicorns are very difficult to get internship placement in. Absolutely, you're right. And one of those very easy ways to get into them is joining communities. Take for example now, I've been able to see the guy a lot of persons in global companies, and one of the recent I can remember is Flutterwave. So this guy is just a mid-level. He's actually a junior engineer. He's a junior engineer, and I'm sure he would not have even thought he was going to start working at a global company or even a unicorn at that level of his career. But then, because he's actually in my pool of talent, was easier for him to get into that. Because I told you, like, companies like that trust that process because they believe that we've done the first instance of shortlisting and not just like having a lot of people just come apply. You know, when you put out application process, like it just tells you the rate of unemployment or unemployment we have in the world, right? It's not only to African continent or to other continents. So you have a lot of people necessarily apply for this position, and it takes you as a technical recruiter or as the HR to begin to shortlist people, meet your this. Even when we have software that does that, and I feel like this is stressful. So the trust companies like ours, what they do to shortlist those kind of persons, and then it's easy for you to quickly get into those companies through like our companies, like for similar companies. So that's one of those things I would like to say. And again, you need to, if you want to get into, if you have a target or a company you want to get into, it's nice for you to know people around within that company. Say for instance, you want to join TalentQL, it's always nice for me to know me, right? Know when opportunities are popping up, because a lot of companies out there, they don't even post these opportunities out, right? Because they have reasons why they do not put them out. So if you have somebody within those companies, or not necessarily somebody you're close with, just like LinkedIn and every other are really nice for you to connect with people. Just begin to follow people who are in that company, and they could easily share the experience getting into those companies with you. What's the skill sets? What's the requirements? I mean, it's not even only relating to the tech space. It's like the normal workspace. So if you want to get something, you need to target something to get there. I guess that's the most easiest path to get into these companies, because just randomly throwing up your application may not necessarily easily work, but some people have like experience or testimonies around just randomly throwing an application. So have a case study, or like an example, there's a guy who has applied to a company. The company is also like a Fortune 500, and he didn't get picked. I mean, I don't know, but then it came into TalentQL, and then it's still to, it was like, I've applied before, they didn't consider, now they have more confidence because this company has vetted me and says, oh, this is the right person for this job. So you see how it works, right? It's just sentiment, or as human beings or as companies, we trust people when they say, okay, this is it. So I guess that's one of those very fast for you to get into this companies. Caleb, I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you too.
I saw a hand from Pacific and Claire, so I think Pacific, you can go first, then Claire.
Okay, so for me, my question is on specialization. So a lot of people tell, like on my side, they tell me, oh, you should know everything, and others are like, you should specialize. So, and sometimes I'm like, I want to know, like, yeah, not everything, but like the basics of each thing in tech. So I was like, when is the, let's say, right time to specialize and focus on that one thing that you want that is interesting to you?
Okay, thank you so very much, Tobista. Did I get your name correctly pronounced? My apologies if there was like mispronunciation there. Or you could help me out just pronouncing the name. So
it is Linda who was talking. Pacific Linda.
Oh, Linda. Oh, my apologies. I thought I saw that's microphone on. So I just presume that's the person talking. Oh, hi, Linda. So thank you so very much for that question. There is no always a fit size or pattern to upscaling your process. I'm just telling you what I believe and from my own experience, right? So I'm not forcing it down your throat to be like specialized in one particular area, or I'm not saying that's the best way to go. But experiences also tells, like people I've spoken with, a lot of colleagues that I have, software developers, people that I've known that have scaled through their career path very quick and fast. what I've noticed is that they specialize in one area, and it does not necessarily mean that you don't know a lot of other things, but just makes you that you are very strong in this angle. And I'm also like I'm struggling with that in my own general career path, because I told you, like, I'm a gender specialist, right? I'm also in tech. I'm also in academia. I'm also a political analyst, like a lot of things that I do, right? And people are like, Kenny, which is your first and foremost passion? Which do you do? Because when we're talking about gender specialists and gender advocacy, you are like there, especially in Nigeria, you are like one of those persons that they will point to. And if we're talking about this, you're there. If you're talking about which one are you concentrating on, I'm just like, I don't know, because I can't choose. These are my areas of interest. I can't choose right now, but I make sure that whatever that I'm doing, I put my strength in it. So far, I'm able to put my strength in it and prioritize one over the other. It helps me. So for political analyzing, what I just say now, for political analyst, as a political analyst, it comes below the ladder in my career path. Even when I have MSc and BSc in political science, and I've done a lot of analysis with news agencies, writing columns and stuff like that, it still comes like beneath my career path ladder. So I don't concentrate or put more energy in that, because it's not really only when I'm talking about inclusion of women in politics, like I'm already infusing two of those things that I do, like a political analyst and a gender specialist in together. So aside from that, going into core politics is not really my career goal right now, although I have future ambitions in that area. So necessarily what I'm saying is, at the particular time in your career path, you might have priorities, but does not mean that you're not doing the other things. And that goes in line with the programming languages that you're learning right now and frameworks that you're learning. It's not like you're not learning everything or you don't want to know a bit of everything, but you know those ones that you're prioritizing over the other. And then knowing those ones that you're prioritizing should go with understanding the market demand. So it's very not impressive or not rewarding for you to learn a programming language or framework that is not really in demand in the market, and then you're just saying, I do. Companies are not demanding for people with those soft skill sets. So another thing is, you need to know what the market demand is, and then if you're somebody who can easily, you're flexible around that, you can easily pick up that and prioritize that over the others. Or you have like an interest, because some developers just fall in love with a particular framework and say, no, this is what I want. If you're that kind of a person, then definitely should prioritize your interest, because it gives you that sense of enthusiasm and you're able to do much. So there are a lot of factors to consider when you're trying to say you want to prioritize in one area over the other. But trust me, there's no fit size or mechanism to getting it right. It's just you yourself knowing what you want. And then I guess that just helps. Hi, Linda. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, I think you can go now.
Okay, thank you so much for all the insights you've shared. It's been really helpful. So my question is in line with like career progression. So I'd like to understand more about what distinguishes junior engineers or developers from senior developers. Like what are the metrics of measurement? Is it the years of experience? Is it your role in a particular company? Yeah, like what are the main like distinguishing factors? Like when does as a junior developer like graduate, quote unquote, into a senior developer or engineer?
Thank you so very much, Claire. I mean, these are questions that I ask a lot of persons, particularly companies that want to hire, because I want to understand what they see as a senior engineer and a mid-level engineer or a junior engineer. So I already gave you like an insight to what we use in my company to categorize. That's just a little of them, right? To categorize a mid-level from a senior, from a junior. But then a lot of persons have their different parameters to saying, okay, you're a junior developer or you're a senior developer. And so when I'm on a call with clients or potential employer for my talents in their pools, I'm always quick to ask them, what do you think is a senior engineer from in your company? And there are a lot of answers that I get. So first and foremost, you see people saying, oh, they have to have specific numbers of years of professional working experience. That's like one of the first thing that people look out for to like say you're a junior engineer or a senior engineer. So junior engineers, you have like 0 to about 3 years of experience. I mean, typical of that. For mid-level, you have like 3 years to 5 years of working professional experience. And then as a senior developer, you have more than 5 years plus working experience. And people that are considered as lead engineers or tech leads or CTUs necessarily have like about 8 years of experience, 9, 10 years of experience, just however that is, but they usually have a lot of years of experience working professionally. And that is not all that companies do look out for. And it also boils down to the projects that you have been able to undo. That I'm saying that even as somebody who is looking out to intern somewhere, you need to at this point begin to understand that you need a lot of projects you need. Not necessarily you just being the one championing that project, but something you collaborated with other people to work on. It helps you a lot to accelerate your progress because you've been able to see a lot of things. Okay, this is how was built. These are the ingredients. These are the little out of place. So it helps you over time to know what necessarily you need to do. Aside this again, it's also depend on your key activity within a team. So you're a software engineer. What particular things do you do as a software engineer in that company? And trust me, working in a startup really helps you to know a lot rather than working in a unicorn, or because all of these unicorn or big corporations or stuff like that already have like a very specialized pattern of operation. And so if you're a mobile engineer, like even they have just PHP, they have just for a backend engineer, like they have like streamlined PHP, or they say they're looking for just Java developer. They just streamline it like to the core of what you can do. And this is, some people is just testing, some people is just, so like they don't have room for expansion or to try a lot of things compared to a startup where you have to juggle between a lot of things and do things to acquire a lot of, so whatever you're doing in a particular point in time also goes a long way to categorize you as a mid-level engineer, or but most overall is first thing first is they look at your years of experience. Even myself, if I'm trying to categorize a senior engineer from a mid-level, first thing I look at is your work experience, like how many years of professional working experience, how long have you been in this company, to okay, those things that you have been able to do. So it's very necessary that your years of experience matters. They want to see what this person can do. So even if you don't have a lot of years of experience, trust me, your skill set necessarily talks, because we have about some persons who have 10 years of experience and they categorize themselves as senior, but they are mid-levels because of what they can do or what they have done over time. So a lot of companies there out usually tell me that they are bothered about what they can do and what not necessarily their experience. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Linda.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much, Claire and Linda, for your questions, Caleb as well. Any other questions from the audience before I think we finalize? My question was practically what Pacific asked, so I think I'll reserve my question for now. Any other questions from the team? Any comments in the chat? Anything? If you liked the session, say you liked the session. This is an open floor. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll pass it on to you, Kehinde, if you have any final words you'd like to give, any last words you want to give us. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Catherine. It's been a very engaging one. I mean, I love the energy that the participants are bringing on board, the questions, and it's really lovely that I'm here today. And yeah, just like we had a discussion, I was thinking I won't be able to be the one to do the presentation, but some few days ago, before I reached out back, something, I mean, I thought like, even if I had other engagements today, it's still something I need to. So, and I really love the fact that I'm here today. Thank you so very much for inviting me. And my final words are just that I hope on the long run, I've been able to pass out some key information on how you can position yourself better for your internship application. And I hope to get positive responses that you got into some amazing opportunities and you're now a rock star in whatever that you're doing. I guess that's just my last words. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kehinde. I think mine is equally just to thank you so much for first making the time to you know, very well we've struggled a lot in the back trying to get the dates together and everything, and the fact that you have been so patient and equally very active in the, you know, the whole planning process. This is something that I'd really like to thank you so much for. The fact that you've brought so much energy to the session. The session has been informative. I have learned a lot personally, and I am hoping, and I actually know everyone else in, you know, everyone else in the community has learned a lot as well. And I know that this is something that we're going to take on as we go apply for internships. You know, to the team, you know, summer internship applications are already out, by the way. And I know now that we're done with summatives, most of the companies are now churning out their applications. So this is the time when you start applying for those early ones. So I really felt like this was a session that we all needed just before we get into, you know, the applying mood. And when January 2022 comes, we are all going to be jumping for those opportunities. So I felt like it was a good way to close the year, just to have us reflect on what we've been told. And I'm really glad that we've gained even more information than I expected us to get. I think with that, we have come to the end of our session. Mine is just to remind you guys to please follow our social media pages on Instagram and Twitter at DSCALU. Also to remind you that this is our last session as a GDSC for the year, though we will be coming back in January. Hopefully we're going to have more in-person events next year, when most people are back on campus, and at least really hoping the Omicron situation doesn't do much for us. And yeah, mine is just to thank you guys so much for attending. Thank you so much for keeping attentive. Thank you so much for just being here and for making the time. I think without any further ado, I think I can open the floor for everyone to leave at their own pleasure. Thank you once more.